When it comes to retirement planning as a Christian or Christian retirement planning, there are a lot of things that come to mind. And this is certainly not a comprehensive list, but if you're a Christian and you're wondering about retirement planning, perhaps you're close to retirement and thinking about retiring, or maybe you're just starting out your career and you're trying to figure out how to save towards retirement. Hopefully, this will give you some answers or at least some things to ponder about. So I have been a Christian since I was 16. I'm now in my mid 30s. I've read the Bible several times through, but I'm no pastor. I'm no theologian. I'm a financial planner by trade, and I don't work exclusively with Christians, but I do have several Christian clients. And I've just thought about this a lot personally. There's lots of great resources out there. One of my favorite books on stewardship when it comes to finances is a book called Money, Treasures, and Eternity by Randy Alcorn. Of course, Dave Ramsey has a bunch of stuff out there too, and lots of other people have great resources. But when it comes to Christian retirement planning specifically, I think we there's a few things we have going on in our mind that we need to keep track of. The first thing is uh, retirement is not necessarily a biblical idea, at least in the terms of how we see it today. In Numbers, there is some reference to the Levites, the Levitical priests retiring, and so that's under the Old Testament, under kind of the old sacrificial system. The Levites were able to retire at 50. Of course, lifespans at that time were not probably what they are now, relatively speaking. So the Levites were told to retire, but nobody else really in the Bible, nowhere else really in the Bible is retirement mentioned. And so that's really the first thing we have to understand is that it's not really spoken about biblically. And a lot of practicality of that is the idea of someone being able to retire, and how we may see the term today, is really a new idea, really invented in the past 50, 75, 100 years. And so we really need to be clear about what our terms are here. So we have to try to use some biblical wisdom in how to go about planning for retirement as a Christian, or should you even plan for retirement as a Christian. And of course, again, this is, I'm not God. Your relationship with God alone, and you have to seek His will for your life. But these are just the things that I think about. And so the first thing is understanding that retirement really is not really even in the Bible, except for the one-off case when in regard to the Levites, the Levitical priest system, and they were retire at 50. They could basically then um, live off of the tithes and offerings and all that type of stuff, but no longer had to do the work of a priest at 50. So what are the issues to think about? I think the first one is Jesus speaks a lot about the warnings of money and wealth and possessions and the hold that it can have on our hearts. And so we really have to be very careful when it comes to saving money, when it comes to investing, when it comes to making money, of what the purpose is, and not only when it comes to retirement, but really when it really comes to anything. Uh, there's so many Bible verses around warnings of money, and so we really have to be to guard our hearts, to pray through thoughtfully how does what we're doing from a saving standpoint, from an investing standpoint, is that to build our own kingdom or to build the Lord's kingdom? And so that's really, I think, the first warning that I would have. And there's lots of Bible verses that go into that. Um, I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the quotes exactly, but basically, you can't serve God and money. You have to choose one, basically. And so, but to be said, that juxtaposed in several other places throughout scriptures and Jesus Himself that talks about being a good steward. There's the story of the talents, and the workers being faithful stewards, giving what God has given them, and producing more. being fruitful and multiplying. We see stories of wealthy people all throughout the Bible that are able to help with God's mission and God's kingdom. And so that's so if we're talking about bullet points, the first one is, retirement really isn't necessarily in the Bible, at least in terms that we think about it today. The second is a huge caution around making an idol out of money or serving money alone. Money needs to be used to serve the Lord. The third thing is, having money is okay as long as it's in its proper place, right? And used effectively for the Lord. And then the fourth thing that I think of is, those uses can include investing and retiring and having an inheritance for children. All of those things, I don't see anywhere in the Bible that is really against those things. It's just, again, it's really having the proper order when it comes to your finances. And so, as a Christian planning for retirement, you have to really prayerfully think through, what are your priorities? And one area that I do see a lot of Christians end up uh, maybe having different priorities. I had a pastor one time. His name was Pastor Gary Crawford, and a great man. He's still alive, at least as of now. And he would say, you can tell who you are by your calendar and your checkbook. And so if you look at your finances, I mean, the beautiful thing about finances, and I think why Jesus spoke so often about finances and wealth, of course, they didn't have cash and mutual funds back then, but they had, land and uh, cattle and sheep and goats and all of the gold and all that type of stuff. And so money's been around obviously forever. So um, but he would say, you can tell who you are by your calendar and your checkbook, is what my old pastor used to say. And I think that that's a tangible outworking of, when you look at where your money is going, both your income on an ongoing basis and your assets on an ongoing basis. Are you spending more money on things that are not eternal? Are you putting more money away into your retirement account than you are in giving? And now there's big debates on tithing and all of that type of stuff. I know, but um, still, the Lord loves a cheerful giver. Are you giving more away than you're saving and storing for yourself? And if not, that may be okay, but you really got to evaluate your heart on that. And so we really want to be careful on what we're doing as Christians, to really see everything through. Is this going to bring glory to the Lord? Is this going to help build the Lord's kingdom or not? And investing is fine in the right terms. And so that's my thoughts on retirement planning as a Christian. I know it's not necessarily specifics. I've got lots of other articles and videos on specifics of retirement planning, but I think most of the time when we're asking as a Christian about retirement planning, it's more, is this okay to do or not? And the short answer to that is yes. I think it's completely okay to plan for retirement. Where the Lord has provided technology and systems and ways for us to be able uh, to invest wisely, and to be able to be freed up time. Now the extra time, that's I guess the final note that I would have is, what are you going to do with the time once you are retired? And the statistics show most people end up watching TV most of the time, which is really sad to me. But at the same time, I think it's because as we're planning for retirement, we're thinking about retiring away from what we're doing currently because we don't like the work that we're doing. But it really should be more about what are we retiring to? We're building resources and investing so that we can uh, be able to spend more time on maybe pure ministry type work, or maybe your work during your living years is a ministry. You're able to influence people sometimes in the secular world by doing your job well, more than in a pastoral job or something of that nature. So but the reality is, we know there comes a time where your body starts to get tired, your mind starts to get tired, and you're just unable to physically work anymore. And so I think it is prudent to plan for those times, especially because costs can ratchet up very quickly. To have the resources to be able to care for yourself, to be able to leave inheritance for your kids and grandkids, that's all fine and well. And so so that's my thoughts on retirement planning as a Christian, or Christian retirement planning. And I hope you found it valuable. If so, click a link to subscribe, or go over to the website, check out more resources there. And I hope you have a great day. Take care.